Chapter 21-23. Yin Haoge is being restrained. A great emperor explained. Restrained? Some people were confused, while others were deep in thought. One of the top 10 battle beasts, the spacetime spirit mouse, is born with the ability to control spacetime. Although Yin Haoge is the spacetime son, he's still a bit weaker than the spacetime spirit mouse. Therefore, he's being restrained in terms of spacetime laws. The martial monarch explained once again. Everyone was enlightened. The spacetime spirit mouse could only unleash its true strength after revealing its true form. It could use the spacetime laws to the fullest, and even control Yin Haoge's spacetime laws. It could be said that Yin Haoge was no longer a match for Bubbles. Whoosh! Bubble traveled through spacetime. Her body was small, but wherever she passed, spacetime followed. The space wrapped around her like water. An endless space-time power charged at Yin Haoge. Yin Haoge roared. He was a little unwilling, and wanted to flip over. Unfortunately, it was useless. At this moment, he couldn't control the space-time laws effectively. It was extremely difficult to control them. Without the space-time laws, how could he be Bubbles' opponent? He was sent flying again and coughed up blood. With your strength, you want to take me as a pet beast? You're overestimating yourself. I said that you'd be more suitable to be my human pet. Hurry up and kneel down and call me master. Bubble was extremely excited. She traveled through the void and slapped Yin Haoge with her little paw. Yin Haoge roared in anger. He unleashed his full strength, but it was useless. He couldn't defy the heavens. He was completely suppressed by Bubble. In the end, his face was scratched by Bubble, leaving a claw mark. You have my mark on your face. You're now my human pet. Chirp, 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 chirp. Bubble screamed excitedly. Yin Haoge was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. Many people were speechless. They could see that compared to the spacetime spirit mouse, Bubble was still in its infancy. She wasn't deliberately humiliating Yin Haoge. However, in Yin Haoge's eyes, it was a blatant humiliation. He roared in anger, but in the end, he still rushed down the battle platform in humiliation and admitted defeat. He knew that if he continued to fight, he would only be humiliating himself. That guy. Yes, that guy has a good relationship with the spacetime spirit mouse. I'll take revenge on him later. Yin Haoge was infuriated. He glanced at Lu Ming. He couldn't beat Bubbles, so he could only get back at her from Lu Ming. Lu Ming noticed Yin Haoge's gaze and was speechless. Why was this guy staring at him with a face full of resentment? Lu Ming pursed his lips and didn't take it to heart. If this guy didn't know what was good for him, he wouldn't mind giving him a beating when they met again. Bubbles won the match. Whoosh! Bubble transformed back into human form and hung on Lu Ming's neck. Big brother Lu Ming, I'm awesome, right? Chirp. Bubbles pouted. Amazing, amazing. Bubbles is the best. Lu Ming said with a smile. Bubbles is the best. Come, let sister hug you. Lu Xiangxiang walked over and looked at Bubbles, her eyes shining. Lu Xiangxiang's eyes were twinkling with little stars after seeing Bubbles' original form. Little guy, don't be rude. You have to call me auntie. Chirp. Bubbles pouted and looked at Lu Xiangxiang with disdain. Lu Xiangxiang immediately retreated with a bitter face, causing Qiu Autumn Moon, Huang Ling, and the others to laugh. Everyone looked at Lu Ming with envy in their eyes. Lu Ming not only had 2 Elysian children as his disciples, but he also seemed to have a good relationship with the spacetime spirit mouse. Especially Yin Haoge. His eyes were full of jealousy. The third match, Yuan Xian against the ancient demon. The white-haired old man announced again. The scene fell silent, and everyone's attention was drawn back. 2 figures stepped into the arena. It was Yuan Xian and the ancient demon. Boom. Without saying much, they directly attacked. A terrifying collision occurred. The son of chaos, Yuan Xian, punched the air with astonishing power. It was like a huge mountain pressing down on the ancient demon. The ancient demon was covered in demonic light. He cultivated the primordial path of demons, and his attack power was astonishing. He clashed fiercely with Yuan Xian. In the first 10 moves, the two were evenly matched. After 10 moves, Yuan Xian did not hold back and unleashed his full strength. 2-star illusionary emperor. This was Yuan Xian's strength. and he had already reached the peak of the two-star illusionary emperor. 2 years ago, Yuan Xian had just broken through to the martial emperor realm. After cultivating for 2 years, he had already reached the peak of the two-star illusionary emperor realm. This speed was very shocking. Every breakthrough in the martial emperor realm was very difficult and required a lot of time. Some martial emperors were trapped in the same realm for hundreds of thousands of years, and could not break through. In the end, they died under the lightning tribulation. This was also because Yuan Xian had entered that space that he could break through so quickly. Yuan Xian, who had unleashed his full strength, was extremely terrifying. He could completely suppress the ancient demon. It was not that the ancient demon was weak. He was very strong, and there were not many opponents at the same level as him. Unfortunately, his cultivation was still a little weak. He was only a 1-star illusionary emperor, and it was difficult for him to fight against Yuan Xian. After a few moves, the ancient demon coughed out blood and retreated. He was defeated by Yuan Xian. It's a pity that the ancient demon's cultivation is still a little weak. If he reaches the 2-star illusionary emperor realm, he might be able to compete with Yuan Xian. The power of the primordial path of demons is really amazing. Some people discussed looking at the potential of the ancient demon. However, in the next moment, the crowd looked forward to it even more. There were 4 people left: Tianming, Wuliang, Baoda, and Xieku. These 4 people were extremely terrifying geniuses. 2 years ago, they had already broken through to the martial emperor realm. Next, the 4 of them were going to fight. It would definitely be a battle of the peak. Wuliang, Xieku, the white-haired old man announced. The crowd immediately became nervous. Wu Liang was a Buddhist genius who had suddenly risen in recent years. He had displayed unparalleled talent. He had been bragging to the outside world that he was the reincarnation of the Buddha God, and that his previous life was an unparalleled almighty. Although his character was sometimes criticized, his talent and combat strength were real. He stood at the peak of Yuan continent. As for Xieku, he was a real dragon who had cultivated the primordial path of demons. He had an unparalleled demonic body, and was also incomparably powerful. Who would win? The crowd was filled with anticipation. 2 figures stepped into the fighting ring. I have hair. Benefactor, you and I are fated. Why don't you be my guardian divine beast? Wu Liang said with a straight face. Monk, are you insulting me? I will twist your head off. Xieku's face was ferocious. Xieku came from the land of divine beasts. The land of divine beasts was home to various powerful divine beasts such as real dragons, phoenixes, and Qilins. He was the #1 genius in the land of divine beasts. Now Wu Liang wanted to take him in as his guardian divine beast. How could he not be angry? I have hair. Benefactor, you want to twist my head off as soon as you open your mouth. Your killing intent is too strong. You should return to Buddhism and refine your killing intent. Wu Liang said with a straight face. Lu Ming and Long Chen despised him. This monk was definitely up to no good. Refine your head. Die. Chapter 21-24. The purple gold true dragon could be said to be the royal family of the true dragons, and was extremely powerful. The dragon claw stepped on the air, and clawed at Monk Wu Liang. There was no fluctuation of the laws, but no one doubted the power of the claw. It could easily tear a 1-star empty emperor apart. You're so stubborn. Be careful, I'll catch you and cook you for my wine. Monk Wu Liang shouted. Everyone looked at each other. Lu Ming and Long Chen looked at Monk Wu Liang with disdain once again. This was probably Monk Wu Liang's true intention. Wang. Unscrupulous monk's body glowed with golden light. Behind him, a golden Buddha statue appeared. It was 100 feet tall. Unscrupulous monk stood on top of the Buddha statue. The Buddha statue waved its hand, and a mountain-like hand blasted towards Chil. Boom. A terrifying vibration sounded. The 2 of them were evenly matched. 9 attacks of the demon god. Xieku let out a long roar, and unleashed a terrifying attack technique of the immemorial demonic Tao. His body glowed as 5 dragon claws attacked continuously. Each attack was terrifying to the extreme, capable of tearing apart the void and shattering the earth. Fortunately, this battle stage was made by a great emperor and was indestructible. No matter how they fought, they could not destroy it. Buddha kingdom in the palm. Heartless monk had a dignified appearance as he displayed the great divine ability of Buddhism. He stretched out his hand and a palm stretched out. It rapidly enlarged and pressed towards Chil. There seemed to be a Buddha kingdom in his palm. There were 3,000 golden arhats chanting scriptures. The golden light was more dazzling than the sun. Boom. Boom. Monk Wuliang and Xieku's cultivation had both reached the 2-star empty emperor realm. They were extremely powerful. The dragon's roar shook the sky, and the chanting of scriptures resounded throughout Destiny Mountain. The two of them continued to exchange blows and exchanged dozens of blows. What terrifying combat strength! I'm afraid that an ordinary 3-star empty emperor would be torn apart instantly. Someone from the empty emperor realm said solemnly. He has just broken through to the martial emperor realm, and hasn't comprehended any other laws. Yet he's already so terrifying. The others exclaimed. There were many factors that determined one's combat strength in the martial emperor realm. However, it was shocking to have such combat strength after just breaking through to the empty emperor realm a few years ago. The two of them fought fiercely. They used all kinds of trump cards and displayed a pinnacle battle. This was the most intense battle in the competition for the top 10 positions. The two of them were evenly matched, and it was difficult to determine the victor in a short period of time. The battle lasted for more than 200 rounds. I am the reincarnation of the Buddha God. Little worm, come and protect me. In the future, you will live a good life. If I have meat to eat, you will have soup to drink. Unscrupulous monk shouted as he fought. Chil was so angry that his nose was about to become crooked. He was a purple gold true dragon, a royal among the true dragons, yet he was called a little reptile. Also, aren't Buddhists vegetarians? Why the f***ck are you eating meat? Amitba. Some of the Buddhists who were watching the battle had solemn expressions on their faces. They chanted the name of Buddha and seemed a little embarrassed. However, although Wu Liang was unreliable, his battle prowess was indeed ridiculously strong, making people shudder. From the start of the battle until now, his body was blooming with tens of thousands of rays of Buddha's light. It was as if the more he fought, the more courageous he became. It was as if the Buddha had truly turned around, and the Dharma of Buddhism was boundless. Many people were indignant. This fellow was so unreliable, but his Buddhist divine abilities were inconceivably powerful. It really made them envious. The battle continued, and both of them were injured. Chil's scales fell off, and he was dripping with blood. On the other hand, Unscrupulous monk was scratched by the dragon claws, and a few hideous claw marks appeared. One of his arms was almost torn off. This was a tragic battle. You are too cruel. Be careful of retribution. Wu Liang shouted, but he was more ruthless than anyone else. All kinds of Buddhist divine abilities greeted Chil's body, and a large number of scales fell off. These scales are treasures. Don't waste them. And the dragon blood, take it back and make soup. In the battle, Unscrupulous monk did not forget to take the dragon scales and dragon blood. Chil was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He was so angry that he attacked crazily. In his anger, he finally revealed a flaw. Unscrupulous monk seized the opportunity and continuously attacked him fiercely. He vomited blood and kept retreating. In a battle between experts, a step behind would lead to a step behind. Once Chil was at a disadvantage, it was difficult for him to reverse the situation. At first he was suppressed by Unscrupulous monk, and finally he was knocked out of the fighting ring. Unscrupulous won this battle. Me haired, thank you for letting me win. Well, about the protector I mentioned before, please consider it. Unscrupulous monk's eyes could not leave Chil. He imagined how cool it would be if he had a purple gold true dragon as a mount. Get lost. Chil roared. You and I are really fated. Unscrupulous monk shouted again. Fated my ass. Chil vomited another mouthful of blood, turned into his human form, and ran to the side to heal. Me haired little girl, you and I are fated. Unscrupulous monk stared at Bubbles again, and walked toward Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming directly kicked Unscrupulous monk's face. Lu Ming, you're too ruthless. I'm injured and you still attacked me. I'll recuperate first. Unscrupulous monk smiled and retreated to the side to heal. Next, Tianming Baoda. The white-haired old man announced. Everyone's eyes lit up. Even Lu Ming was the same. Tianming was going to fight Baoda. Everyone was curious about what kind of ability Tianming would use in this battle. Previously, Tianming had defeated his opponent without even taking a single step. But now, could he do the same against Baoda? Baoda was a primordial physique cultivator. He was extremely powerful and definitely not weaker than Qil and Wu Liang. It would not be easy to defeat Baoda. Boom. Baoda landed heavily on the fighting ring. His dark skin was flowing with black light, full of power. He was 3 meters tall, like an iron tower. Tianming, come on, let's fight. I want to see how you can control my fate with the law of destiny. Baoda shouted, his voice rumbling like thunder. Your fate is sealed. You will lose. Tianming stepped down from the sky, his white robe fluttering. He landed on the fighting ring like an immortal. Whether I lose or not is not up to you to decide. Show me your strength. Baoda shouted, then took a step forward and rushed toward Tianming like a primordial beast. You are destined to be struck by lightning, Tianming said with a gentle smile on his face. As soon as he finished speaking, countless lightning bolts appeared out of thin air and struck toward Baoda. Baoda did not care, allowing the lightning to strike his body. He rushed through it unharmed. The lightning could not break through his defense at all. Is that all you have? Are you trying to scratch my itch? Baoda grinned and did not stop. He charged toward Tianming and punched out. The void shook as a fist force blasted toward Tianming. It is destined that you can't hit me, Tianming said. Chapter 21-25. Everyone was shocked. The law of destiny was too invincible. He said that he was fated not to be hit, but his opponent really couldn't hit him. How was he supposed to fight then? Baoda's attack isn't strong enough. If it was, he could have broken through the law of destiny. An expert spoke up to clear everyone's doubts. You're fated to be burned by fire. You're fated to be cut down. Tianming continued to speak, his speed extremely fast. Then all kinds of attacks fell from the sky, blasting toward Baoda. Boom. Boom. Baoda waved his fist, instantly dispersing the attacks. I've been burning my body with fire and refining it with lightning since I was young. Your attacks can only scratch an itch for me. Baoda's battle intent grew stronger and stronger. He broke through the layers of attacks and quickly approached Tianming. His muscles wriggled and his bones cracked as he punched with all his might. The power of this punch was even more shocking and powerful than before. At this moment, Tianming's expression finally turned serious. He stretched out a finger and pointed forward. Destiny says, absolute defense. A white wall of light appeared in front of him. Baoda's fist struck the wall of light, causing a terrifying explosion that caused the entire platform to shake. Haha, you finally made your move. It seems like your strength is only SOSO. Baoda laughed, then waved his fist, causing the wall of light in front of Tianming to shake continuously. Baoda, you're fated to be injured. Tianming spoke again. His body emitted a bright light as he stretched out his finger. Roar. At this moment, Baoda roared. He seemed to have been hit by an invisible and terrifying attack. His body shook and he took a few steps back, blood flowing from his mouth. Everyone was shocked. They didn't see anything attacking Baoda at all. They only knew that Baoda was going to be injured, and he was injured. This kind of method was too shocking and unbelievable. Your attack power is limited. If you have the ability, just kill me directly. Let's see if you can do it. Baoda roared and charged toward Tianming again. His body swelled up, and his originally burly body became even more shocking. He was like a giant born into the world. Boom. Baoda stomped heavily on the platform, and like a black lightning, he pressed down on Tianming like a demonic mountain. You're fated to be injured. Tianming spoke again, unleashing a series of profound attacks. Break. Break. Break all techniques with one force. Baoda roared as he punched out with both his fists. The void was pierced through, and Tianming's attacks were all destroyed by Baoda. Baoda's strength is terrifying. His strength is slightly above Wu Liang and Xie Ke's. A natural primordial body cultivator. If such a person were to cultivate in the nomological system, he would be trash. However, if he were to cultivate in the primordial body cultivation, he would be an incomparably rare genius. Experts spoke one after another, all shocked by Bao Da's strength. Tianming's expression was a little grave, but it was only a little. Great fate. He spoke softly, and the light on his body became even brighter. Boom. With a wave of his hand, a divine light slashed toward Bao Da. Dong. Dong. Bao Da continued to swing his fists, bombarding the divine light. However, the divine light was indestructible and unshakable. With every punch, Bao Da had to retreat a little. After dozens of punches, Bao Da had retreated dozens of miles and was out of the fighting ring. At that moment, the divine light dissipated. Damn it, I haven't fought enough. Let's fight again. Bao Da roared like a berserk beast. Then his body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. You've lost. Tianming regained his indifferent expression and turned to leave. What strength? It's hard to estimate. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and looked at Tianming. Tianming gave off an unfathomable feeling. Although Bao Da had forced out a part of Tianming's strength, no one knew if that was Tianming's final strength, or if he was still hiding it. Not only Lu Ming, but the other geniuses such as Yuan Xian, Xiaku and Yun Haoge, all had grave expressions. Tianming's strength gave them a lot of pressure. I really want to fight with you. I'll prove to everyone who's the strongest in the world. Yuan Xian whispered, his battle intent surging. How am I supposed to fight with this freak? Wu Liang had a bitter face. All right, the first round of the competition is over. Lu Ming, Bubbles, Wu Liang, Yuan Xian, and Tianming win, each gaining 1 point. Next, the second round, Lu Ming against Bubbles. The old man announced. Huh. Lu Ming and Bubbles were stunned. They met so quickly that old man did it on purpose, right? I admit defeat. I won't fight with big brother Lu Ming. I admit defeat. Bubbles hung on Lu Ming's neck and refused to come down. The spectators were calm, and were not too surprised. They had long known that it was impossible for Lu Ming and Bubbles to fight. One of them would definitely admit defeat. All right, Lu Ming wins this round. Next, Yun Haoge against Yuan Xian. The white-haired old man announced again. Yun Haoge against Yuan Xian. This was also a pinnacle battle, and the battle was incomparably intense. But in the end, Yuan Xian used 2 types of laws and fused them, defeating Yun Haoge in one fell swoop. This shocked everyone, and made them re-evaluate Yuan Xian's combat strength. Yuan Xian had actually comprehended a second type of law, and it was a type of King Dao law. With the fusion of 2 types, his strength had increased exponentially. This made everyone marvel at Yuan Xian's talent. He had only become an emperor not long ago, and he had already comprehended a second type of law. Moreover, his mastery was not low. The third round of the second round, Xiaku against Heng Xinghe. This was a battle without any suspense. Heng Xinghe was crushed and lost 2 rounds in a row. The fourth round, Ancient Devil against Bao Da. Both of them cultivated the ancient cultivation system. Unfortunately, Ancient Devil's cultivation was slightly weaker, and was not Bao Da's opponent. He was easily defeated by Bao Da. The fifth round, Tianming against Monk Wu Liang. Monk Wu Liang was very straightforward. He did not even go on stage and directly admitted defeat. In his words, he was stupid to fight even though he knew he could not win. The second round of the competition ended. Only Lu Ming, Tianming, and Yuan Xian were still in a winning streak. After 10 rounds of battle, everyone had already begun to predict the rankings of the 10 people. Without a doubt, Tianming is the strongest. He will be the champion this time. It's hard to say. Yuan Xian is not weak either. What he has shown now might not be his full strength. Perhaps he can compete with Tianming. From the looks of it, the first 2 should be Tianming and Yuan Xian. The third is very likely to be Bao Da, but it's not certain. In general, the top 5 should be Tianming, Yuan Xian, Bao Da, Wu Liang, and Xiaku. Everyone made their own guesses, but most people believed that it should not be a problem for Tianming, Yuan Xian, Bao Da, Wu Liang, and Xiaku to get into the top 5. What about Lu Ming? He's not weak either. He has mastered 2 types of ultimate laws. He's not weak. He has no problem suppressing Heng Xinghe and Ancient Devil. However, compared to Yun Haoge and Bubble, his strength is probably inferior. I estimate that Lu Ming's final ranking should be 7th. Chapter 21-26. As the crowd discussed, the third round began. Lu Ming's luck seemed to be pretty good. His first match was against the Ancient Devil. As expected, the Ancient Devil was very strong, but he was no match for Lu Ming. He was defeated by Lu Ming. This was the second time the Ancient Devil had been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won 3 consecutive matches. Lu Ming's winning streak will probably end here. The next opponents he will face will not be weak. They will all be stronger than him. That's right. He won 3 matches in a row. I estimate that he will lose 6 matches in a row. Some people discussed, thinking that Lu Ming's winning streak would end here. The second match of the third round was between Bubble and Cheel. This was an intense battle, a battle at the pinnacle. Although Bubble's cultivation was slightly weaker, after transforming into its original form, its strength had increased exponentially. Its control of spacetime had reached an unimaginable level. Cheel was strong, but he could not hit Bubble. Of course, it was not easy for Bubble to defeat Cheel. It could be said that it was very difficult. In the end, after more than 200 moves, Cheel was careless and was teleported out of the stage by Bubble. In this battle, Bubbles won an unexpected victory. This made the crowd reevaluate Bubble's strength. It also made them realize the strength of the top 10 battle beasts. In a battle of the same level, the Elysian Child was not as strong as the top 10 battle beasts. Next was Yuan Xian's match against Heng Xinghe. Needless to say, Heng Xinghe was defeated again. This made his expression turn uglier and uglier. Some people were already certain that Heng Xinghe would be ranked 10th. There was no suspense. The fourth match was between Wuliang and Baoda. This was another peak battle. Wuliang used Buddha's golden body and various Buddha's abilities, but Baoda broke through everything. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves. Wuliang shouted, but it was useless this time. He could not defeat Baoda and was finally defeated and blasted out of the stage. Baoda won this match. The last match of the third round was between Tianming and Yun Haoge. I can see my own fate in the river of time. Yun Haoge roared and fought Tianming with the space-time law. The space-time law did have some restraining effect on the fate law. This was because he could peek into his own fate through the river of time. Of course, fate was constantly changing. What he saw was only the tip of the iceberg. Later on, Tianming used the greater fate art to sever Yun Haoge's river of time and defeat him. At the end of the third round, Lu Ming, Tianming, and Yuan Xian won 3 consecutive victories. However, everyone thought that Lu Ming was just lucky in the first 3 rounds. He would lose consecutively in the later rounds. As for Heaven's Will and Yuanxin, they were obtained through fighting. After a few rounds, the white-haired elder allowed everyone to rest for half a day. Half a day later, the fourth round began. In the first match of the fourth round, Lu Ming was still the first to fight, but this time his opponent was Yun Haoge. Yun Haoge looked excited. The two of them stepped onto the Colosseum. Lu Ming, your good luck has come to an end. You will suffer a crushing defeat in this round. I will make you understand that the space-time spirit mouse is not something you can possess. Yun Haoge said coldly. Your space-time law is too weak. You are no match for me. Admit defeat, lest I attack you. Lu Ming was very direct. He told Yun Haoge to admit defeat. This stunned everyone. They thought that Lu Ming was boasting too much. Although Lu Ming had mastered 2 supreme laws, which could be said to be unprecedented, he was only a quasi-emperor after all. How could he be a match for Yun Haoge? Yun Haoge's cultivation had already reached the 2-star Void Emperor level. Moreover, even if they fought at the same level, he was still one of the best among the Elysian children. With such a huge difference in cultivation, how could Lu Ming be a match for him? Haha, you want me to admit defeat? What a joke. I will teach you a lesson. Yun Haoge said sinisterly. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed towards Lu Ming. He shuttled through the void at an astonishing speed. In the process of Yun Haoge dashing out, the void in all directions was distorted. A terrifying force suppressed Lu Ming's body. This force contained the power of time. It contained time deceleration, causing Lu Ming's speed to become as slow as a tortoise's. There was also the power of space. The space around Lu Ming continued to press down on Lu Ming, trying to bind him. On the contrary, Yin Haoge's speed skyrocketed under the support of the space-time law. In an instant he was close to Lu Ming. He pointed a finger, and the power of space condensed. It contained a terrifying tearing force and charged towards Lu Ming. In the face of such a situation, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. Boom. He struggled with all his might. His physical body and saint power erupted. The void shook, and the power of space that acted on him continued to explode. Then a long river of two-colored laws appeared. This was the fusion of the chaos law and the death law. Boom. Lu Ming's arms shook, and he struck out with his palm. The void exploded, and the space-time law that acted on him was directly cut open. Lu Ming's palm blasted towards Yin Haoge. But Yin Haoge moved, and his body disappeared in an instant. He appeared behind Lu Ming and blasted towards Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming seemed to have eyes behind him. He struck out with his palm and collided with Yin Haoge's palm. Yin Haoge's body floated back. Then his body trembled, and a dense crowd of figures appeared from all directions. So many figures charged towards Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. This was a terrifying killing move. Don't think that the dense crowd of figures were all illusions. In fact, these figures were all real. They were all Yin Haoge's true body. He was shuttling through the void, walking in different spaces. This move was a move that he used in different spaces. Chaos Calamity Finger. In the face of this move, Lu Ming used the Chaos Calamity Finger. He reached out with both hands and pointed continuously. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Finger force burst forth, and each finger force pointed at a figure. Those figures exploded one by one, and finally turned into a figure. Then Yin Haoge and Lu Ming exchanged dozens of blows, and the various mysteries of the space-time law were displayed incisively and vividly. However, his control of space-time was still not as good as Bubbles. Lu Ming protected himself with two types of laws. He stood firm and broke all of Yin Haoge's attacks. Yin Haoge finally lost his patience. I'll use my cultivation to suppress you. Yin Haoge's eyes were cold, and his two-star Void Emperor cultivation completely erupted. He charged towards Lu Ming. Wherever he passed, a space-time storm flooded towards Lu Ming. A head-on clash? That's exactly what I want. Lu Ming smiled and stood there without moving. When Yin Haoge was about to reach him, a long river of laws appeared on Lu Ming's body again. It was the long river of laws of formations. The long river of laws of formations fused with the chaos law and death law, causing the long river of laws around Lu Ming to turn into three colors. After fusing with another type of law of monarch, Lu Ming's battle strength increased greatly. Boom! He blasted out a palm, and the palm force was like an avalanche, blasting towards Yin Haoge. Chapter 21-27. As soon as Yin Haoge retreated, Lu Ming followed. His speed was astonishing as he approached Yin Haoge. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming instantly struck out hundreds of palms. The void exploded as hundreds of palm prints completely enveloped Yin Haoge in all directions, disrupting space-time. At this moment, Yin Haoge could not even escape using the law of space-time. He could only take Lu Ming's palm force head-on. He roared angrily, activating the law of space-time, and erupting with the power of the world to fight Lu Ming head-on. After hundreds of consecutive palms, Yin Haoge's body shook violently as if he had been electrocuted. The law of space-time that covered his body was shattered. His arms directly exploded, unable to withstand Lu Ming's palm force. Smack! In the end, Lu Ming slapped Yin Haoge's face, knocking him to the ground and twitching there. Bam! Then Lu Ming kicked Yin Haoge's face, sending him flying out of the fighting ring. You want to torture me? You're not even close. Lu Ming said lightly. Yin Haoge fell off the fighting ring, his face swollen like a pig's head. He only woke up after a long time. When he realized his situation, he was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. This time he had embarrassed himself greatly. Big brother Lu Ming, well done, well done. Bubbles clapped her little hands in celebration. Many people looked at Lu Ming in a different light. Lu Ming was able to defeat Yin Haoge, which was beyond many people's expectations. Yes, he has also mastered the law of array Tao. I didn't expect him to have cultivated 3 types of laws to perfection, and even fused them together. He is indeed talented. He has cultivated 3 types of laws before becoming an emperor. It's rare. No wonder he has such strong combat strength. Every time a law was fused, its power would increase exponentially. Even many low-level void emperors would find it difficult to fuse 3 types of laws. Putting aside the fact that Lu Ming had mastered 2 supreme nomological laws, even if he had only mastered 3 ordinary nomological laws, his talent was still astonishing. Previously, everyone had thought that Lu Ming would only be able to get 7th place, unable to compete with Wu Liang, Xie Ku, and Bao Da. But now they had changed their minds. Being able to defeat Yun Haoge showed that Lu Ming's strength was already at the level of Wu Liang, Xie Ku, Bao Da, and Bubble. He was qualified to compete for the top 5. Even though he had not become a martial emperor yet, he already had such achievements. It was truly shocking. Just like that, Lu Ming obtained 4 consecutive victories. The second match of the 4th round was between Bubbles and Heartless Monk. My hair is rice, little one. You and I are really fated. On the fighting ring, Unscrupulous Monk looked at Bubbles seriously and almost drooled. This was one of the top 10 beasts. Unscrupulous Monk's heart burned with passion. Monk, it seems like you're looking for a beating. Bubbles couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Unscrupulous Monk, because this was what Lu Ming had taught her. If she saw Unscrupulous Monk, just attack. Little one, you and I are really fated. Unscrupulous Monk shouted. He didn't hold back and was covered in Buddhist light. Those who didn't know Unscrupulous Monk would really be deceived by his appearance, and think that he was an enlightened monk. Bubbles didn't dare to be careless. She directly transformed into her true form and rode on space-time. The space-time spirit mouse's combat strength was strong, and its control of space-time was far above Yun Haoge's. This battle was extremely strange because Unscrupulous Monk couldn't hit Bubbles at all. No matter how he used the Buddhist kingdom in a palm, Buddhist lion's roar, Buddhist palm imprint, and other magical techniques, he couldn't do anything to Bubbles. Instead, he was sometimes caught off guard by Bubbles' sneak attacks. In the end, he was sent flying out of the fighting ring by Bubbles. Monk, you're thick-skinned. Bubbles curled her lips. Bubbles could only send Unscrupulous Monk flying out of the fighting ring, because Unscrupulous Monk's Buddhist golden body was indeed incomparably strong. Bubbles couldn't break it. Of course, if Bubbles' cultivation improved and was on the same level as Unscrupulous Monk, it would be a different story. The third match of the 4th round was between Yuan Xian and Xie Ku. This was another pinnacle battle between the Son of Chaos and the primordial path of monsters. Xie Ku transformed into a 1,000-meter-long purple-gold true dragon. His entire body flowed with purple light. His dragon claws tore through the void, and he used the demon race's magical techniques to fight against Yuan Xian. However, although Xie Ku was very strong, he was still a little weaker than Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian unleashed 2 types of laws and defeated Xie Ku. Next, there was no suspense between Tianming and Xinghe. Xinghe directly admitted defeat. And the 5th match was between Bao Da and Ancient Devil. There was no doubt that Bao Da won. The 4th round ended, and not long after, the 5th round began. The first match of the 5th round was between Lu Ming and Xie Ku. Xie Ku's eyes were solemn. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed before was enough to threaten him. Therefore, Xie Ku used all his strength as soon as he attacked. He transformed into a purple-gold true dragon and pounced towards Lu Ming. Roar! Lu Ming's body glowed and a shocking dragon roar came out from it, causing Xie Ku's body to tremble and his face to change drastically. 9 dragons! Xie Ku's face was a little ugly. In a battle between experts, milliseconds were crucial. Xie Ku was slightly stunned. Lu Ming had already rushed over and unleashed the law of chaos, the law of death, and the law of array Tao. The 3 types of laws combined and unleashed a storm of attacks, suppressing Xie Ku. Xie Ku barely resisted dozens of moves, and was blasted out of the fighting ring by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won. This made many people re-evaluate Lu Ming's combat strength once again. They thought that he already had the strength to compete for the top 3. Lu Ming may be able to compete with Bao Da, but compared to Yuan Xian and Tianming, he's still a little weaker. Yes, if nothing unexpected happens, he should be hovering between 3rd and 4th place. Some people discussed and re-inferred the rankings. The first match of the 5th round ended. The second match was between Bubble and Yuan Xian. This battle was very intense. Bubble transformed into his original body and used the law of time to the extreme, changing unpredictably. However, Yuan Xian's strength was indeed powerful. Just like Lu Ming's previous battle with Yin Haoge, he used his powerful strength to break through the law of time. In this battle, Bubble did not win in the end. After many moves, seeing that he was at a disadvantage, he simply admitted defeat. The third match was between Wuliang and Elder Mo. Wuliang won. After that, Tianming and Bao De won respectively. Entering the 6th round, the atmosphere became heated in the first match. Because the first match was between Lu Ming and Bao De. In the eyes of most people, Lu Ming and Bao De were now at the same level and were strong candidates to compete for 3rd place. In this match, whoever won would be able to get 3rd place. Lu Ming, you're amazing. You haven't become an emperor yet, but you have such combat strength. Old Bao, admire you. But this match, the winner will definitely be me. Bao De grinned, his eyes revealing a fierce light like a big black bear. Big guy, don't be so sure. Lu Ming smiled slightly. Then let me see just how strong the fusion of 2 supreme laws of nature is. Bao De revealed a ferocious look. He took a step forward, and his whole body was like a mountain, crashing toward Lu Ming. Chapter 21-28. The fist force whistled and the space trembled. This was pure strength. The strength of the physical body was extremely powerful and shocking. Primordial body cultivator, I want to see how powerful your physical body is. Lu Ming did not evade. He erupted with 3 types of laws and used the chaotic divine palm. Dong. The palm and fist collided, and there was an earth-shattering roar. The space where the fist and palm collided was like a ripple of water, constantly shaking. Lu Ming and Bao De's bodies shook at the same time, and they both took a few steps back. What a terrifying strength. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Bao De relied purely on his physical strength. It was simply terrifying. That punch had shaken Lu Ming's 3 types of laws and almost pierced through them. Lu Ming's physical body had refined 3 streaks of chaotic qi, and had been tempered by 5 types of laws. It was already extremely powerful, but compared to Bao De, it was still a far cry. It was said that during the primordial age of the heaven realm, there was a primordial body cultivator, who had an invincible physical body. He could cross the sky, stand on the ground, and explode the stars in the sky with a single punch. He was unbelievably powerful. When the physical body was cultivated to the extreme, it would be indestructible and immortal, existing with the heavens and earth. Again, Bao De roared, and like a wild beast, he charged at Lu Ming. His muscles bulged, and his body swelled again. Come! Lu Ming shouted. 3 types of laws surrounded him, and he erupted his physical strength and saint power to the extreme to fight Bao De. Dong! 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 The 2 of them were like 2 wild beasts, constantly colliding in the fighting ring. There was no technique, just pure head-on confrontation. Bao De was a primordial body cultivator. His physical strength was boundless and indestructible. Even an ordinary imperial weapon would be destroyed by Bao De's punch. As for Lu Ming, his physical body was also very strong, and his saint power was condensed and thick. Most importantly, the chaotic law was originally as heavy as a mountain, suppressing the world. With the support of the chaotic law, Lu Ming's strength was also boundless. The 2 of them had similar styles, and they constantly collided with each other, causing the fighting ring to rumble. If they were fighting outside, it would definitely be a scene of mountains collapsing and the earth cracking. How terrifying! Seeing the 2 of them fighting, many people's faces turned pale. It was too ferocious. Under such power, any technique was superfluous. Even ultimate laws would be torn. Even if a 2-star Void Emperor were, he would be easily. The 2 of them fought continuously. Great! Lu Ming let out a long howl. After an intense confrontation, he had become increasingly proficient in the application of several laws, especially the law of chaos. The law of primal chaos and the law of forming a river were already perfect at this stage. But the fog had finally dispersed. Bao De also laughed, and his attacks became more and more violent. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had fought over 100 rounds. At this point, the more Lu Ming fought, the braver he became. Finally, he began to gain the upper hand and Bao De began to defend himself. Bam! Bao De began to retreat. Every step he took caused the fighting ring to rumble violently. Stop, I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not fighting anymore. At this moment, Bao De suddenly shouted. Lu Ming retreated. Bao De gasped for breath. He was sweating profusely. It took him a long time to recover. You pervert, I'll admit defeat today. Let's fight another day. Bao De said. Okay, sure. Lu Ming nodded. It was beneficial for him to have a powerful opponent to fight against. Bao De leaped and rushed down the fighting ring. Lu Ming won. Many people widened their eyes. Lu Ming defeated Bao De. It seemed that he would be in the top 3. This was beyond many people's expectations. Previously, they thought that Lu Ming would be good enough to be in the 7th place. Now the ranking can be seen. Many people began to infer the ranking based on the previous battle results. Everyone thought that the 1st and 2nd place should be between Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. Lu Ming was 3rd, Bao De was 4th, and Bubbles was 5th. That was the situation for the top 5. Now, everyone was looking forward to the highlight. That was Tian Ming versus Yuan Xian. As long as the two of them could defeat each other, the top 10 rankings would be set. Humph, don't underestimate my master. Maybe my master can defeat Yuan Xian and Tian Ming. Lu Xiangxiang pouted when she heard that the people around her thought that Lu Ming could only be in the 3rd place. Haha, little girl, you're really blindly confident. Your master is strong, but it's impossible for him to compete with Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. He's definitely no match for them. We can understand the little girl's confidence in her master, but you have to see the reality. Several gray-haired old men reminded Lu Xiangxiang kindly. Humph, your eyes are not right at all. Previously, you said that my master could only be in the 7th place. Lu Xiangxiang pursed her lips. We were wrong before, but this time, there's no mistake. Several old men were sure. Lu Xiangxiang pouted. Too lazy to pay attention to these old men. The competition continued. Bubble fought Tian Ming. Bubble directly admitted defeat. He was too lazy to compete since he couldn't win anyway. Then Xieku defeated Yun Haoge. Yuan Xian defeated Wu Liang, and the ancient demon defeated Heng Xinghe. In this way, Heng Xinghe was already in the last place. He was even inferior to the ancient demon. In general, in this round, except for Lu Ming unexpectedly defeating Bao De, the other matches were expected by everyone. The 6th round ended, and the 7th round began. Tian Ming versus Yuan Xian. The gray-haired old man said. As soon as the voice came out, the scene fell silent, and then there was an uproar. The highlight of the show had arrived. The biggest highlight of the show had arrived. Tian Ming versus Yuan Xian. This seemed to be deliberately arranged by the gray-haired old man. In the previous rounds, Lu Ming fought in the 1st round. Now the first match of the 7th round was between Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. The atmosphere was suddenly ignited. Countless people revealed looks of anticipation. In the eyes of the crowd, this was a battle between the two strongest geniuses of the primordial realm. Tian Ming and Yuan Xian also exuded a strong fighting spirit. Their gazes collided across the air. Although both of them came from the Divine Fate Land, and were known as the peerless geniuses of the Divine Fate Land, they had never fought before. Lu Ming's eyes also revealed a look of anticipation. He had a feeling that Tian Ming and Yuan Xian had not used their full strength in the previous battle. This battle was enough to show how strong the two of them were. Whoosh! Whoosh! Their figures flashed, and the two rushed directly to the battle stage. Boom! Terrifying auras collided across the air, and a violent explosion erupted. Chapter 21-29. I'll defeat you in this battle and break the legend of destiny. Yuan Xian said, full of confidence in himself. Destiny cannot be broken. Everything in the world has its own destiny. Even the birth and destruction of a world has its own destiny. Therefore, the law of primal chaos is also shrouded by destiny. Tianming said. His white robe was purer than snow. You can't control my destiny. My destiny is in my hands, not the heavens. It's not up to you. Die. Yuan Xian exploded. His figure was like a phantom as he charged at Tianming. The law of primal chaos spread out as he punched out with his primal chaos divine fist. You're destined to be struck by lightning. Tianming spoke again, as if his words were law. As he spoke, all kinds of lightning, flames, ice, poison, and swords blasted toward Yuan Xian. Boom. Boom. Yuan Xian waved his fist, and all the lightning and flames were destroyed. Tianming, you don't have to test me. Show me your true strength. Yuan Xian took a big step forward and attacked Tianming. The aura of two laws spread out from his body. The two laws fused as he punched out. Boom. The fist force crushed forward, stronger than Bao does. Great destiny art. Tianming stopped probing and used the law of destiny's theurgy. He reached out a finger and pointed forward. A streak of light erupted like a streak of light, but also like a divine blade as it blasted towards Yuan Xian. Boom. Yuan Xian's fist force was defeated, and the light of destiny continued to blast toward Yuan Xian. Break. Yuan Xian's fists were constantly waving, and in an instant he punched hundreds of times, smashing the space into pieces. The light of destiny was blocked, and in the end, it was defeated. He blocked it. Yuan Xian is indeed powerful. Someone exclaimed. Previously, when Tianming used the great destiny art, no one could block it. Even someone as strong as Bao De couldn't block it. But now, Yuan Xian blocked Tianming's light of destiny. Perhaps Yuan Xian could really fight against Tianming. Kill. After Yuan Xian defeated the light of destiny, he took the opportunity to attack Tianming. No one can block the light of destiny. Your fate is sealed in this battle with me. You will lose. Tianming said softly as he pointed his finger. In an instant, dozens of light of destiny burst out. These rays of light took on different shapes. Some were in the shape of swords, some were in the shape of sabers, and some were in the shape of spears. They transformed into all kinds of weapons and shot towards Yuan Xian. The power of each strike was shockingly strong. Yuan Xian waved his fists, trying his best to defend himself. However, there were too many beams of destiny light. Each beam contained boundless power. Yuan Xian was suppressed, retreating repeatedly. Yuan Xian is about to lose. The laws of fate are truly invincible. Some people sighed softly. If even Yuan Xian was no match for him, then who else could be a match for Tianming? No, Yuan Xian can still fight. He's about to erupt. Someone shouted. Boom. At this moment, Yuan Xian's aura skyrocketed once again. His cultivation was still at the peak of the two-star illusionary emperor realm. However, his aura had increased tremendously. Chaotic divine body. Yuan Xian roared. Boundless primal chaos law gathered towards Yuan Xian. His body started to change. It turned gray, as if his physical body had turned into a primal chaos stone. Yes, the chaos stones. When Lu Ming used the chaotic divine palm, his palm would turn gray, like a primal chaos stone. Now, Yuan Xian's body had turned into such a state. This was a terrifying secret technique. Boom. Boom. Yuan Xian's body seemed to have really turned into a primal chaos stone. It was indestructible. He punched out continuously, destroying all the beams of destiny light. For the first time, a trace of seriousness appeared in Tianming's eyes. His body shone brightly as he constantly pointed his finger. Beams of destiny light shot out continuously, blasting towards Yuan Xian. However, Yuan Xian's chaotic divine body had increased his combat strength. Each of his punches was able to destroy a beam of destiny light. Yuan Xian was rapidly approaching Tianming. Everyone was shocked. Was Yuan Xian really going to change his destiny and defeat Tianming today? In front of everyone's shocked eyes, Yuan Xian approached Tianming and punched out, piercing through Tianming's chest. However, Tianming's body was like an illusion. It was illusory and nothing happened to him. Destiny has determined that I won't be defeated. No matter what you do, it's useless. River of Destiny, come out. Tianming said. Then a large river appeared under his feet. This wasn't a river formed by perfecting the laws, But the legendary River of Destiny. The fate of all things in the world was in the River of Destiny. Everyone's fate was already determined. Tianming stood in the River of Destiny as if he was the ruler of the world. Boom. Boom. Yuan Xian kept punching out, trying to break through the River of Destiny. However, his punches were like stones sinking into the sea. All things in the world are in the River of Destiny. Yuan Xian, you're not an exception, Tianming said. Then he stretched out a hand and grabbed at the River of Destiny, pulling out a figure. That's... Everyone was shocked because the figure that Tianming pulled out of the River of Destiny was exactly the same as Yuan Xian. However, they could tell that it was just an illusion. You're destined to be defeated, Tianming said softly and pointed a finger. A ray of light shot out and bombarded the illusory figure. A large hole appeared in the figure's chest. At that moment, Yuan Xian's body trembled as if he had suffered a terrifying attack. He tried his best to resist, but in the end, he retreated more than 10 steps. Everyone saw that a bloody hole had appeared in his chest and blood was flowing out. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. The laws of destiny were too strange. Tianming had only pulled out a figure that looked exactly like Yuan Xian from the River of Destiny. Yet, Yuan Xian was injured when he attacked the illusory figure. Those who defy destiny will be punished, Tianming said and pointed another finger. The illusory figure was penetrated again. Yuan Xian's body trembled violently as he retreated. Another wound appeared on his body. The scene was silent. It was too strange. Moreover, Tianming was too strong. Who could fight against such strength? Tianming continued to attack. Each time he attacked, Yuan Xian would have to retreat and a wound would appear on his body. In the end, Yuan Xian vomited blood and was heavily injured. Alright, this battle ends here. Yuan Xian, you've lost. At that moment, the white-haired old man stood out and stopped the battle. He was afraid that Yuan Xian's injuries would affect the battle later. Yuan Xian was somewhat unwilling. In the end, he gritted his teeth and left the battle stage. He knew that he had lost. He wasn't Tianming's match and couldn't be the strongest in the world. I'm not strong enough. I need to be stronger. The legendary primal chaos scripture recorded all kinds of terrifying abilities that used the laws of chaos as the foundation. I must obtain them. Yuan Xian was unwilling. He looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent. Chapter 2130. Tianming is number 1 in the world. No one can match him. The rankings are almost clear. Tianming is first, Yuan Xian is second. It's a pity that Lu Ming is still a quasi-emperor. If he becomes an emperor, he might be able to compete with Tianming. How can there be so many ifs? Tianming is one step ahead, and will only be stronger in the future. Lu Ming will probably never be Tianming's opponent. Everyone discussed. In the end, someone who was hostile to Lu Ming spoke, deliberately belittling Lu Ming, causing xiang bubbles, and the others to glare at him. After the 7th round, Tianming and Yuan Xian's battle. The following battles were not too surprising. Those who were predicted to win all won. Lu Ming also won. In this battle he fought Wuliang. Wuliang dawdled for a long time. After exchanging a few moves with Lu Ming, he directly admitted defeat. Lu Ming, you freak. I thought I could suppress you after so many years, but I didn't expect that I'm still not your opponent, Wuliang said with a bitter face. Hey, how can you say that? What freak? This is my talent, do you understand? Lu Ming glanced at Wuliang from the corner of his eyes. My hair. Wuliang stopped talking and retreated to the side. After the 7th round ended, the white-haired old man let everyone rest for 3 days, and continue the battle 3 days later. This was because some people were injured and their battle strength was affected, such as Yuan Xian. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Everyone recovered to their peak state. Lu Ming against Yuan Xian. At the beginning of the 8th round, the white-haired old man announced the most important battle. To be honest, everyone was looking forward to this battle. This was because it was a battle between 2 sons of chaos, and also a battle for the 2nd and 3rd place. Most people thought that Lu Ming would not be Yuan Xian's opponent because the strength Yuan Xian had displayed was too shocking. But after all, It was a battle between two sons of chaos, a rare sight. Yuan Xian's eyes were filled with a fiery light. He stepped out and stepped onto the battle stage. Lu Ming also stepped onto the battle stage. Lu Ming, this time, I will make you lose miserably. Yuan Xian stared coldly at Lu Ming. I'm sorry, but I have to tell you something. No one has ever been able to surpass me after being defeated by me, not even you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. What? Everyone was stunned. What did Lu Ming mean by this? Could it be that Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xian before? How was this possible? Soon, news spread that Lu Ming and Yuan Xian had fought during the Primal Chaos Sex Assessment, and Yuan Xian had been defeated. Everyone was astonished. There was actually such a thing? It seemed like the two sons of chaos already had a grudge against each other. Back then, I was only suppressed. If I wasn't suppressed, I would have suppressed you with a flip of my hand. Yuan Xian's expression was cold as he continued. Lu Ming, hand over the Primal Chaos scripture. You are not qualified to wield it. I'm not qualified, but you are? Lu Ming sneered and said. You want the Primal Chaos scripture? Sure, why don't we make a bet? Bet on what? Yuan Xian said coldly. Let's bet on this battle. If I lose this battle, I'll give you the Primal Chaos scripture. If you lose, you'll listen to me for the rest of your life. How about that? Lu Ming said. I won't bet with you. Yuan Xian said coldly. You don't dare? Are you afraid of losing? Lu Ming said. I won't lose. I want the Primal Chaos scripture. I'll defeat you and take it from you. Yuan Xian was very confident. After saying that, he did not say anything else and stepped towards Lu Ming. Boom. A powerful aura erupted from his body, and the law of chaos spread out. At the same time, there was another law. It was a kind of law of the king. Although it was not very mature, it still increased Yuan Xian's combat strength by a lot. Primal Chaos Divine Fist. Yuan Xian made his move. He punched continuously, and the void rumbled. Every time he punched out, a mountain would form and suppress Lu Ming. These mountains were evolved from the law of chaos, and they were extremely powerful. Boom. Lu Ming also made his move. 3 kinds of laws erupted, and he rushed up and used the Primal Chaos Divine Palm, striking out a few times in a row. Bang. Bang. Every palm strike was capable of shattering a mountain. Mountains formed from the law of primal chaos exploded in the air. Primal Chaos Finger. After shattering a few mountains in a row, Lu Ming used the Primal Chaos Finger again. A huge Primal Chaos Finger formed and crushed towards Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian threw a few punches and defeated the Primal Chaos Finger. However, at this time, Lu Ming had already arrived. He continuously struck out with the Primal Chaos Divine Palm, and in an instant he had struck out hundreds of times. Yuan Xian threw a punch and fought with Lu Ming. The two figures fought fiercely, and for a moment, it was difficult to determine the winner. The law of chaos permeated the entire fighting ring. Yuan Xian was very powerful. He was a 2-star Void Emperor. In terms of cultivation, he was much stronger than Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's physical body and saint power had been tempered 5 times. 5 times he had 2 kinds of supreme laws, 3 kinds of law of kings, and 3 kinds of law of kings. This made up for the lack of cultivation. Lu Ming is really strong. He can actually compete with Yuan Xian. However, Yuan Xian still has a secret skill that he has not used. Lu Ming is destined to lose. Someone said, acknowledging Lu Ming's combat strength. However, they thought that Lu Ming would still lose. Yuan Xian, bring out your strongest battle strength. That's all, it's not enough. Lu Ming said in the midst of the battle. Since you want to see it, I'll crush you. Chaotic Divine Body. Yuan Xian roared and the law of chaos boiled. His physical body seemed to have turned into a chaotic stone. After using this secret skill, Yuan Xian's combat strength increased greatly. He threw a punch and collided with Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming felt his arm go numb. He could not help but take 5 to 6 steps back. Bam! Bam! Yuan Xian took advantage of the situation and threw out punches. Lu Ming was forced to retreat. Lu Ming, you are no match for me. Hand over the chaos scripture. Yuan Xian shouted and attacked wildly. Why are you in such a hurry? It seems that 3 laws are still not enough to deal with you. Let's use 4 laws then. As he spoke, another law river appeared on Lu Ming's body and merged with the previous 3 laws. In the next moment, a 4-colored law river appeared on Lu Ming's body. With one more law, Lu Ming's combat strength increased greatly. He threw out a palm and collided with Yuan Xian's attack. Both of their bodies shook and retreated. However, Lu Ming took 2 steps back while Yuan Xian took 4 steps back. 4 laws. Lu Ming has comprehended 4 laws. Oh my god, it's the law of devour. 2 supreme laws and 2 monarch laws. It's really heaven-defying. This is too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. Some people exclaimed. It was mainly because it was too shocking. Previously, Lu Ming did not use his full strength and even held back. Not only did he control 2 supreme laws, but he also comprehended 2 other monarch laws. Moreover, he had reached perfection. How old was Lu Ming? How did he cultivate? Chapter 2131. Master is invincible. Master will definitely win. Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli shouted excitedly. Luo Tianyi, Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others were also stunned. Although they knew that Lu Ming was abnormal, they did not expect him to be this abnormal. My hair, you pervert. Do you want me to live? Heartless Monk's face became even more bitter. How is this possible? How is this possible? Those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, such as the Hung family, the He family, the Daoyuo Heaven sect, the Wan family, the Golden Crow clan and other forces, were all shocked and frightened. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more frightened they were. Yuan Xian himself was also shocked. He had also comprehended the 2nd law, so he knew how difficult it was to comprehend other laws. It was even more difficult to merge them together. He had only succeeded in that world. However, Lu Ming had not only mastered 2 supreme laws, but also comprehended 2 other laws of the King Path. A total of 4 laws, and all of them had been perfected and merged together. This was unbelievable. Even with his wisdom, he was still shocked. So what if you have 4 laws? I will still defeat you. Yuan Xian let out a long howl, charging toward Lu Ming with an imposing aura. His body emitted a dark light as if it was made of chaotic stone. Bam! Lu Ming stepped forward and used the chaotic divine palm to fight with Yuan Xian. Bam! Bam! There was another shocking shock in the fighting ring. In an instant, the 2 of them had exchanged more than 50 blows. However, after Lu Ming burst out with 4 laws, his combat strength had surpassed Yuan Xian's. The more laws were fused, the stronger the power would be, multiplying the power. After more than 50 blows, Yuan Xian was completely at a disadvantage, and was forced to retreat by Lu Ming. Yuan Xian was not willing to give up. He roared and fought with Lu Ming without fear of death. He could not lose. This time, it was different from the assessment in the Hunyuan sect. This time it was a real showdown. They went all out without holding anything back. This was also a showdown between Sons of Chaos. If he lost to Lu Ming, he definitely wouldn't be able to obtain the Chaos Emperor's legacy. Furthermore, he would have to live under Lu Ming's shadow for the rest of his life. This was a fatal blow to his path of martial arts. Lu Ming, you can't break my chaotic divine body. I won't lose. Yuan Xian roared. You think too much. Lu Ming continuously waved his palms, repelling Yuan Xian, and then bombarding Yuan Xian's chest with a palm. Boom. Yuan Xian's body trembled violently as he retreated continuously. His face paled as he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Following that, Lu Ming continued to attack with his palms, striking out several hundred palms in an instant. Palm imprints enveloped Yuan Xian's entire body. Yuan Xian did his best to resist, but there were still palm imprints that landed on his body. Bang! Bang! Yuan Xian's body continued to tremble. In the end, cracks actually appeared on his body, as if it was about to split apart. He spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying and fell heavily on the fighting ring. Defeated. Yuan Xian was defeated. The entire place was silent. Before the battle, not many people had expected this result. Most people had always thought that Tianming was first, Yuan Xian was second, and Lu Ming was third at most. They thought that it was impossible for him to be a match for the two people in front of him. But now, Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xian. His next opponent was only Tianming. Master is invincible. Xiang Xiang shouted excitedly. She then looked at the few elders not far away and said, I told you, my master is invincible. No one is a match for him. The few elders blushed. Previously, they had said that Xiang Xiang was blindly confident, and told her to see the reality. Lu Ming was no match for Yuan Xian and Tianming. But now it was Lu Ming who had defeated Yuan Xian. Even though the few elders had lived for many years, they couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Uncle Kong and martial monarch Wuxia smiled too. Lu Ming being able to come this far had far exceeded their expectations. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming stepped forward and walked towards Yuan Xian. I haven't lost. I won't lose to you. Yuan Xian howled madly. He was extremely indignant. He charged toward Lu Ming again. But he was already injured. How could he be a match for Lu Ming? After a few moves, he was sent flying again. His body was covered with cracks and blood was seeping out. With Lu Ming's current strength, a palm strike could shatter the void and destroy a 10,000 feet tall mountain. The power was shocking. It was already very shocking that Yuan Xian could survive after taking so many palm strikes. Yuan Xian roared and wanted to continue fighting. The white-haired elder stepped down and stopped him. You have lost. Go down. The white-haired elder said. Yuan Xian finally stopped and looked at Lu Ming with unwillingness. His eyes flashed with cold killing intent. After today's defeat, you will never be a match for me. Also, you don't deserve to control the primal chaos scripture. Lu Ming glanced at Yuan Xian indifferently and turned to leave. Yuan Xian's body trembled, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. After that, the competition continued. But the rest of the competition was within everyone's expectations. There were no surprises. Everyone was looking forward to the last round. The 9th round was the last round. After this round, the 10 of them had fought the other 9. And in the 9th round, Lu Ming would fight against Tianming. Originally, everyone didn't have much expectations for this battle. They thought that there was no suspense and that Tianming would win. But after Lu Ming defeated Yuan Xian, everyone changed their minds. At least, Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xian and was qualified to fight against Tianming. After the 8th round ended, there was a break. The 9th round was about to begin. In the last round, the white-haired elder seemed to have intentionally put the battle between Lu Ming and Tianming at the end. Everyone was itching, but they could only wait for the previous matches to end. There were no surprises in the previous matches. By the time the previous matches were over, the crowd already knew the rankings for this round. Except for the 1st and 2nd place, the rest of the rankings were already confirmed. 3rd place, Yuan Xian. He had only lost to Lu Ming and Tianming. 4th place, Bao Da. 5th place, Bubble. 6th place, Heartless Monk. 7th place, Xieku. 8th place, Yin Haoge. 9th place, Ancient Demon. 10th place, Xinghe. Xinghe had lost all 9 matches and didn't win a single one. His expression was extremely ugly. Especially when he saw the last battle between Lu Ming and Tianming. His expression became even gloomier. By now, Lu Ming had left him far behind. The last battle, Tianming versus Lu Ming. The white-haired elder finally announced the names of the two. Countless people's hearts were in their mouths. It was finally the last battle. This battle would determine who was the strongest genius of the younger generation of the Yuan realm. Would it be Lu Ming or Tianming? One of them had yet to become an emperor, but he had already mastered 2 types of supreme laws. 2 types of monarch laws, which was unprecedented in history. The other was a rare child of destiny, who controlled destiny and was unparalleled in the world. Chapter 2132. 2 figures appeared in the air and landed on the fighting stage, attracting everyone's attention. Tianming, dressed in white, was shrouded in a mysterious light. He looked like an immortal that had descended to the mortal world. He looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile and said, You're strong, but you're still destined to lose. Bullshit. I control my own fate. No one can control my fate. If there is, I'll crush them all. Lu Ming was incomparably domineering. He didn't believe in fate at all. His fate was in his own hands, not the heavens. As long as he was strong enough, he could change his fate or even reverse it. The previous people didn't believe in it either. They thought they could resist fate, but in the end they couldn't escape it. Tianming wasn't angry and continued speaking as if he was in control of everything. Oh, then have you seen your own fate? You'll be beaten into a pig's head by me? Lu Ming smiled faintly. My fate is already determined. I won't lose, Tianming said softly. Then I'll change your fate and let you lose once. Boom. 4 types of laws erupted from Lu Ming's body and fused together. Lu Ming's body was like a cannonball that smashed toward Tianming. You're destined to be injured, Tianming said softly and pointed with his finger. There were no energy fluctuations, but at this moment, Lu Ming's hair stood on end and his pupils constricted. He felt a terrifying force bombarding and crushing him out of nowhere. Buzz. Lu Ming vibrated his laws, and the 4 types of laws gathered into a 4-colored river that surrounded his body and blocked the strange energy attack. Is this the fate law? It's just a type of law. Although it's mysterious and strange, it can't really decide one's fate. It still needs an energy attack. Lu Ming had some understanding of the fate law. Boom. Lu Ming broke through the energy attack and charged toward Tianming. Tianming, don't bother with these useless things. Use your divine ability. His figure was like lightning as he approached Tianming at lightning speed. As you wish. Great fate art. The light on Tianming's body grew even denser. His figure was almost invisible as he was covered by the light. He pointed with his finger, and a beam of destiny turned into a sword that slashed at Lu Ming. Chi. Lu Ming also pointed out with a finger, and used the chaotic finger of calamity. An extremely condensed finger force burst forth and destroyed the light of destiny. However, Tianming's finger continued to point out, and rays of light of destiny transformed into various weapons that shot towards Lu Ming. The power of these weapons was extremely shocking. All of them had terrifying killing power. Tianming's cultivation was also at the peak of the 2-star illusionary emperor realm. However, his combat strength was absolutely shocking. Every ray of destiny light could instantly kill an ordinary 2-star illusionary emperor, or even an ordinary 3-star illusionary emperor. Lu Ming operated the law and covered his palm. He executed the chaotic divine palm, and continuously struck out. Bang! 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 Lu Ming defeated the rays of destiny and scattered them like fireworks. Lu Ming was valiant and invincible. He continuously destroyed the rays of destiny that were attacking him. His figure rapidly approached Tianming. In the end, Lu Ming broke through the obstruction. He pointed out with a finger and a chaotic finger of calamity shot towards Tianming. Tianming's eyes narrowed. A river of destiny formed under his feet, and he was in the middle of it. However, Lu Ming's current attack power was stronger than Yuan Xian's. The chaotic finger of calamity crushed over, and caused the river of destiny to tremble. Everything is shrouded by the long river of fate. Lu Ming be defeated. Tianming roared and reached out with his hand. He grabbed a figure from the river of destiny. That figure was exactly the same as Lu Ming. However, it looked very illusory and struggled in Tianming's hand. It was as if Lu Ming's fate was really in Tianming's control. Whoosh! Tianming pointed out with a finger, and a ray of light pierced through the illusory figure's body. At the same time, a terrifying force appeared out of thin air and blasted towards Lu Ming. It wanted to pierce through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming let out a loud roar. The power of the 4 laws vibrated continuously, blocking that surge of power. Bang! Bang! The 4 types of law power constantly vibrated and collapsed bit by bit. That force was ancient and terrifying. It was unknown where it came from. Even the fusion of the 4 types of law power couldn't block it. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming frantically retreated. The 4 types of law power were penetrated. However, after the force penetrated the 4 types of law power, it was more or less neutralized. It only left a shallow mark on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming wasn't injured. Lu Ming isn't going to be a match for him. However, this is enough to show how terrifying Lu Ming is. Yuan Xian was no match for that move and was seriously injured. However, Tian Ming's move is too terrifying. Seeing Lu Ming being repelled, everyone guessed that the final victor of this battle would be Tian Ming. Some of the forces that had a grudge against Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Lu Ming wasn't that heaven-defying. Fate can't be defied, Tian Ming said. He stood in the river of fate, as if he was about to reach divinity transformation. Whoosh! Whoosh! He pointed out 2 fingers in a row, and pierced through the illusory figure in his hand. At the same time, Lu Ming suffered a terrifying attack. The law power vibrated. Lu Ming's figure frantically retreated. However, he was blocked in the end and wasn't injured. Bullshit! Lu Ming stepped forward and charged towards Tian Ming. Tian Ming continued to attack with his finger. The force of his finger pierced through the phantom. Lu Ming encountered a terrifying attack. Several terrifying forces were attacking him. Boom! Lu Ming was blasted a few hundred meters away. His body trembled and he felt his blood boil. Lu Ming, I admit that you're a rare genius. However, you can't defy the heavens and defy fate. Tian Ming said coldly and arrogantly. You're so full of yourself. Is that all you've got? Lu Ming sneered. Tian Ming frowned. How can you defeat me with this little strength? You can't hurt me at all. Lu Ming said. Many people were shocked. Indeed, Tian Ming could only repel Lu Ming, but he couldn't seriously injure Lu Ming. Lu Ming could use his powerful defense to drag on, and make this battle difficult to determine the winner. Tian Ming's face darkened. His body shone brightly as he continuously pointed his finger. However, he could only repel Lu Ming, but he couldn't injure Lu Ming. Is this your limit? Then today, let me break fate. Lu Ming roared. His body was like lightning as he rushed towards Tian Ming. Boom! In the process of rushing out, the aura on his body became stronger. The 4-colored Law River turned into 5-colored Law River. This time, the entire audience was ignited. Gosh, 5 colors, 5 types of laws. Lu Ming has mastered 5 types of laws. Am I seeing things? It's true. It's too terrifying. There's no limit. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. Previously, Lu Ming had revealed 4 laws, which was already shocking enough. Everyone guessed that it was most likely Lu Ming's limit. Chapter 2133. Lu Ming displayed 5 types of laws. The integration of the 5 types of laws caused an uproar. Many people found it difficult to remain calm. Lu Ming simply had no limit. Now that he had 5 types, no one was sure if he would reveal 6 later. As for Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli, they jumped in excitement. Swish! Lu Ming traversed the void and approached Tian Ming in an instant. Tian Ming's pupils constricted, and his expression was incomparably solemn. His body was almost fused with the river of destiny, becoming illusory. At the same time, he continuously pointed at the illusory figure. This time he pointed at the illusory figure's forehead. The illusory figure's forehead was pierced. Lu Ming, who was charging over, encountered a terrifying attack. An incomparably sharp force attacked Lu Ming's forehead. However, now that Lu Ming had fused 5 types of laws, his combat strength had increased greatly. His laws trembled, blocking the force. Then Lu Ming struck out with his palm, bombarding the attack. Boom! A shocking explosion erupted, and the void trembled. The force that attacked Lu Ming was extremely shocking, but it was still defeated by Lu Ming. Try my finger. Lu Ming rushed over and pointed with his finger at the same time. Energy surged between heaven and earth, converging into an incomparably huge primal chaos tribulation finger that crushed toward the river of destiny. Whoosh! This time, the river of destiny couldn't withstand the power of the primal chaos tribulation finger. The river rolled and shook, and the water surged, stirring up thousands of waves. Rumble! As the primal chaos tribulation finger pressed down, the river of destiny seemed to be about to collapse. At this moment, the scene was dead silent. Many people didn't even dare to breathe loudly, because they knew that this was the critical moment. It was time to determine the victor. Who would win? River of Destiny / Tianming roared. He was absorbing the power of the River of Destiny, turning into a ray of light that slashed at the primal chaos tribulation finger. Boom. A shocking explosion sounded in the sky. The light that Tianming slashed out blocked the primal chaos tribulation finger, and the two dissipated. Again. Lu Ming pointed a few more times. Boundless energy gathered, and a total of 3 chaos tribulation fingers shot toward Tianming. Tianming could only do his best to resist. The situation had completely reversed from before. Earlier, Lu Ming had been at a disadvantage when Tianming used the River of Destiny, but now, Tianming was at a disadvantage again. The situation was rapidly changing. Boom. 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 Another 3 rumbling sounds rang out. The 3 chaos fingers of calamity were blocked, but Tianming's figure retreated frantically. The river of fate trembled, and the radiance became somewhat dim. You broke through my defense. Tianming roared. Even now you're still so confident. Let's shatter your confidence. Lu Ming stepped into the void and clenched his fist. A massive sword light condensed in the air. Sword of Death. This was a killer move that Lu Ming had created himself. It contained the 4 laws of death: devour, array Dao, and extreme energy. This was not a simple fusion of laws. Instead, it was a divine ability constructed from the various miraculous effects of the 4 laws. This kind of divine ability was many times stronger than a simple law fusion. Although Lu Ming could only use the 4 laws, he couldn't block it. This divine ability had become one of Lu Ming's strongest killer moves. Slash. Lu Ming roared and slashed down with his sword. This sword cut through the void and slashed at Tianming. Tianming tried his best to resist, but it was useless. His river of fate trembled violently before it was cut in 2 by the sword of death and exploded. Tianming retreated frantically, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood that dyed his snow-white robe red. Tianming was injured. With his river of fate broken, he was severely injured. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming did not stop there. He used the Chaos Calamity finger and continuously pointed. A few huge fingers shot toward Tianming. Tianming wasn't blasted out of the battle stage, but he didn't admit defeat either. The battle wasn't over yet. Tianming was unwilling to give up, and tried his best to resist. However, he was severely injured and his battle strength was weakened. Moreover, his river of fate had been cut. He couldn't resist Lu Ming at all. After a few moves, he was sent flying 100 miles. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and his face was pale. He had been sent flying out of the battle stage. You've lost. Lu Ming stood in the middle of the battle stage and said indifferently. Defeated. Tianming had lost. The crowd was silent at first, but when they came to their senses, there was an uproar. Lu Ming is really heaven-defying. He defeated Tianming as a quasi-emperor. The legend of the law of fate has been broken. Fate can be broken. Man can conquer the heavens. The crowd was in an uproar. No one had expected that Tianming would be defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated Tianming and stood at the peak. At first, no one thought highly of Lu Ming. When they found out that Lu Ming hadn't broken through to the martial emperor realm, they even mocked him. At that time, no one thought that Lu Ming would be able to enter the top 10. Even more so, no one thought that Lu Ming would take first place in the end. Master is invincible. I know that my master is invincible. Xiang Xiang jumped up in excitement, and didn't forget to look at the few elders nearby. Those elders were also in a daze. When they saw Xiang Xiang's gaze, they couldn't help but blush. Young master is really amazing. Qiu Yu's face was full of smiles. Huangling, Longchun, Luotiani, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others also had smiles on their faces. Deathblade looked at Lu Ming in silence. As for Heng Xinghe, his face was extremely dark. There was even a hint of fear. Lu Ming's battle strength had exceeded his expectations. If Lu Ming attacked with his full strength, he could kill him in a single blow. Brother Wuxiang, Brother Kong, Brother Heng, Brother He. I heard that Lu Ming came from Yuan Mountain. Who would have thought that Yuan Mountain would have such a genius? Congratulations. Some great emperors congratulated Uncle Kong, Great Emperor Wuxiang, Great Emperor Heng, and He clan. Ha ha ha. Both Uncle Kong and Emperor Wuxiang laughed heartily. Emperor He and Emperor Hung harumphed coldly. Their faces were extremely dark. They couldn't wait to slap Lu Ming to death. How could they be happy when others congratulated them? How could this be? The ones with the worst expressions were the Hung clan, He clan, Ancient Moon Sacred Land, Golden Crow clan, Wang clan and other forces. Their faces were pale. Lu Ming's talent was too terrifying. If Lu Ming was allowed to grow, they would all be destroyed in the future. Thinking of this, their hearts were filled with fear. Damn it! Yuan Xian roared. He couldn't accept that Lu Ming had taken first place. Tianming couldn't accept it either. His eyes flashed, but they eventually fell silent. All right, the Battle of 10 Earths ends here. It's all over. The white-haired elder walked out and smiled. Now, I announce the top 10 in the Battle of 10 Earths. First place Lu Ming. Second place Tianming. Third place Yuan Xian. Chapter 2134. There was a deafening cheer at the scene. Without a doubt, Lu Ming was the center of attention. The Battle of the 10 Earths had gathered all the geniuses of the entire primordial realm. Moreover, this generation was known as the Golden Age. Geniuses came out in large numbers and experts gathered. Many of the sons of heaven were reduced to foils and attracted the attention of the world. And Lu Ming stepped over all the geniuses and fought at the peak. He used his strength to prove to everyone that he was the strongest. He's already so terrifying before becoming an emperor. His future is limitless. With such heaven-defying talent, if he continues to grow, he'll probably become a top expert in the world. Most people were discussing Lu Ming. However, Yuan Xian and Tianming were ignored. The Son of Destiny and the Son of Chaos were originally dazzling and eye-catching, but at this moment, all of their glory was snatched away by one person. Big Brother Lu Ming, you're really too powerful. Bubbles hung on Lu Ming's body, unwilling to let go. Master is so powerful. Xiang Xiang and Ouyang Moli also came over and looked at Lu Ming with admiration. In their eyes, Lu Ming was invincible. Lu Ming, congratulations. Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others also walked over and congratulated Lu Ming. To be honest, Lu Ming being able to defeat Tianming was also beyond their expectations. Everyone, this is not over yet. Now, it's time to give you your rewards. At this moment, the white-haired old man's voice sounded again, and the scene suddenly fell silent. Yes, there were rewards for passing the selection previously. They could enter that corner of the world and obtain great opportunities. How could there be no rewards now? At least, the rewards for the top 10 were definitely amazing. Especially the first place. Many people revealed envious expressions and looked at the white-haired old man, guessing what the rewards were. But there was no doubt that the rewards would be better than the previous selection. The reward this time is a little special, so you'll have to wait for a while. You'll know when the time comes. After the white-haired elder finished speaking, he went to an ancient altar at the peak of Heaven's Mandate Mountain. He waved his hands, and rays of light entered the altar. The altar emitted a resplendent light. An array of light pierced through the void and into the depths of the heavens before disappearing. Everyone was curious, but they didn't ask and waited patiently. This wait lasted for 2 days. On this day, a muffled rumble suddenly came from the depths of the sky. Then a resplendent golden light covered half the sky. Look, there's a door! Someone exclaimed. In the depths of the sky, where the light was the brightest, a door suddenly appeared. This wasn't a gate of light, but rather something that seemed to be made of bronze. Roar! Roar! The door was open, and roaring sounds could be heard from behind it, shaking heaven and earth. Dragon roar. Many people could tell that it was the roar of a true dragon. Then, everyone saw the sound of footsteps coming from the door, and the dragon's roar was getting louder and louder. Then, the crowd saw 9 true dragons rushing out from the gate. The 9 true dragons were side by side, pulling a huge chariot that appeared in the depths of the sky. On the chariot stood a number of figures. Most of them were young people who looked to be in their 20s. There were both men and women, and all of them had extraordinary temperaments. There was only one middle-aged man on the chariot. He was wearing iron armor, and his body was emitting a terrifying aura. That was the aura of a great emperor. At the highest point of the chariot sat a figure, but this figure was shrouded in divine light, and his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Many people were shocked. Who was this person? He appeared from the depths of the sky, and he was being pulled by 9 true dragons. There were also true dragons on Yuan Mountain, and at this moment, many of them had ugly expressions. Using 9 true dragons to pull a chariot was a humiliation to the true dragon race. However, the aura emitted by the middle-aged man was too shocking. It was filled with killing intent and endless murderous intent. It was as if they were in an endless hell. Even many great emperors had solemn expressions. The true dragon stepped into the air and arrived above Tianming Mountain, floating there. The white-haired old man and some other great emperors stepped forward and cupped their fists. Greetings, Heavenly Realm emissaries. What? Heavenly Realm emissaries? Everyone was shocked. They finally understood that these people were actually from the Heavenly Realm. The Heavenly Realm might not be unfamiliar to some great emperors because great emperors should have channels to enter the Heavenly Realm. But for those below the great emperor level, the Heavenly Realm was a legend. Many powerful forces knew that the Heavenly Realm was at war, but they had never been to the Heavenly Realm. It was even more so for the younger generation. Now, they finally saw the people from the Heavenly Realm. Many people's eyes lit up as they sized up the people from the Heavenly Realm. It's them. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. On the Heavenly Realm's chariot, he saw 2 young men that he had seen before. Previously, when he entered the primordial realm, he had seen 2 young men in the corner of the world that he had left behind. One had purple hair and an extraordinary temperament, unfathomable. The other was dressed in a black robe and controlled the law of reincarnation. He was a son of reincarnation and had fought with Lu Ming before. These 2 are indeed from the Heavenly Realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. At this moment he thought of many things. It seemed that the primordial realm's prodigies were not the only ones who had entered that corner of the world. Perhaps the Heavenly Realm's prodigies had also entered. Could it be that the so-called opportunity is related to the Heavenly Realm? The Heavenly Realm has been around for countless years. It's much older than the primordial realm. Legend has it that there are endless opportunities. Some people discussed softly. Although many people knew that the 9 heavens domain in the Heavenly Realm had been mostly occupied by the foreign tribes, there was still the strongest and largest heavenly domain in the Heavenly Realm, the Tai Ching Heavenly Domain, which was still under control. Legend had it that the Tai Ching Heavenly Domain's area was not smaller than the Yuanlu. It also contained all kinds of opportunities from the Heavenly Realm over countless years. Many people's eyes burned with passion. Who are the top 10 prodigies of the primordial realm? Step forward and take a look. The middle-aged man in iron armor stepped forward, his voice spreading throughout the area. Many people retreated, while Lu Ming and the other top 10 prodigies stepped forward and appeared in the middle of the Destiny Mountain. The middle-aged man's gaze swept across the 10 prodigies like lightning. A layer of goosebumps appeared on Lu Ming's body. It was as if the armored man's gaze could see through them. After the armored man swept his gaze around, he nodded and said with satisfaction, "Not bad. It said that the primordial realm is also full of prodigies. You didn't let me down. This time, many of you can enter the Heavenly Realm and obtain great opportunities." As the armored man spoke, many people's eyes lit up. It was indeed so. The reward this time was related to the Heavenly Realm. "General, I heard that the primordial realm has also reached its golden age. Many prodigies have gathered. Now that the top 10 strongest prodigies have been determined, I'm itching to spar with the prodigies of the primordial realm." Chapter 2135. Many people's eyes flickered. The prodigies of the Heaven Realm were going to challenge the prodigies of the Yuan Realm. However, it was normal. They were all young and full of vigor and confidence. When they saw a strong opponent, it was inevitable that they would want to learn from each other. The eyes of the Yuan Realm prodigies also lit up. They also wanted to know how strong the prodigies of the Heaven Realm were. "All right, then let's learn from each other." The armored burly man nodded. They had brought the prodigies of the Heaven Realm over with such a plan. "Thank you, General." The burly young man cupped his fists and stepped forward. His gaze swept over Lu Ming and the others. He had short hair, each strand like a needle. His gaze was sharp like a lion's. I cultivate the Archean martial arts of the Archean system. Among you, there should be someone who cultivates the Archean system. The short-haired young man spoke. His gaze swept over the 10 people with a faint arrogance. Bam, bam, bam. Bao De, Xie and the ancient devil stepped forward at the same time. A powerful aura erupted from their bodies. I'll take you on, Bao De spoke. His body was like an iron tower, filled with infinite power. He's mine, Xie also spoke. There was a trace of coldness in his eyes. He was a purple gold dragon, a royal of the True Dragon clan. However, the other party used 9 dragons to pull the carriage, which made him extremely unhappy. The short-haired young man glanced at the 3 of them. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. That trace of contempt was not concealed at all. An Archean physique cultivator, an Archean demon cultivator, and an Archean demon cultivator. Very well, the 3 of you, come at me together. The short-haired young man said indifferently. His contempt was even stronger. What? Many people's faces changed. This short-haired young man was too arrogant. He actually asked Bao De and the others to come at him together. After all, Bao De had obtained 4th place. His combat strength was extremely powerful. With Xie and the ancient devil, they could even fight Yuan Xian. This short-haired young man had such strong combat strength? Arrogant, I'll take you on. Xie was already angry. Now that he was being looked down upon by the other party, how could he bear it? He roared and transformed into his original form. He charged at the short-haired young man. His 5 dragon claws continuously stepped out, wanting to tear the short-haired young man apart. Boom! The short-haired young man struck out with his palm. His palm directly pierced through the void and collided with Xie's dragon claw. Roar! Chiel roared, his entire dragon body trembling violently as he retreated. That is, everyone saw that Chiel's dragon claw had cracked open. It was covered with cracks and blood was flowing out. With just one move, he had injured Xie, which was shocking. Many people's gazes were solemn. This short-haired youth's combat strength was absolutely terrifying. Tianming and Yuan Xian both had serious looks on their faces. I said, the 3 of you should come at me together. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand a single blow. The short-haired young man said with even more disdain. Then let's meet you. Bao De let out a furious roar. His muscular body swelled as he threw out a punch. Similarly, he punched through the void. At the same time, the ancient devil also made his move. A demonic light slashed toward his opponent. Roar! Chelk roared. Blood energy filled the air, and the wound on his dragon claw quickly healed. His body emitted a purple gold light as he charged towards the short-haired youth. 3 geniuses from the archaic system attacked at the same time, shocking the heavens and earth. Ha ha ha, that's more like it. The short-haired youth laughed. One of his palms changed, as if it had turned into jade. It was so transparent that even the blood vessels in his flesh could be seen. Boom, boom, boom. The short-haired youth attacked, throwing out 3 consecutive palms. Pung. The ancient devil collided with a palm print. His body shook violently as he was sent flying a few thousand meters away. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood and his aura was weak. He had been severely injured. Pung, pung. Next, it was Chiel and Bao De. Both of them retreated frantically. Is that all you've got? Not enough. Come again. The short-haired youth charged towards Bao De and Chiel. His palms struck out continuously. Bao De and Chiel tried their best to resist, but they were no match for him. The short-haired youth's palms seemed to have the power to split open the heavens. After more than 10 moves, Bao De and Chiel coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Their arms were shattered, and they were severely injured. They were unable to continue fighting. Everyone was shocked. This short-haired youth was too terrifying. There were no law fluctuations on his body. It was obvious that he also cultivated the archaic system. However, his strength was astonishing. He easily defeated Bao De, Chiel, and the ancient devil. He should be one of the top sky prides in the heavenly realm. Someone guessed. You guys are too weak. The short-haired youth glanced at Bao De and the other 2 and stepped back. Bao De, Chiel, and the ancient devil's faces were ugly. However, the other party was indeed powerful. This made them feel helpless and they had suffered a great blow. I'll spar with the sky prides of the primordial realm. After the short-haired youth returned, another youth walked out from the heavenly realm. This person was wearing a gray robe. His eyes were as bright as the stars. He looked at the crowd and said, I cultivate the law system. Who wants to spar with me? I'll spar with you. Yin Haoge was the first to speak. He stepped forward. The void around his body undulated like waves. His 2-star Void Emperor cultivation was undoubtedly revealed. The space-time child, 2-star Void Emperor? How about this? I'll suppress my cultivation to 2-star Void Emperor. The gray-robed youth said. Then a powerful aura emanated from his body. He was a 2-star Void Emperor. Everyone was shocked. The gray-robed youth's words were very obvious. His true cultivation had surpassed that of a 2-star Void Emperor. Now he wanted to fight with Yin Haoge at the same level. In that case, don't regret it. Yin Haoge said. As soon as his voice fell, he made his move. He shuttled through the void and charged towards his opponent. His speed was astonishing. The gray-robed youth's face remained calm. At this moment he waved his hand, and the law erupted. A large cauldron appeared in his hand. The primordial law. This person was a son of primordial chaos. At this moment, the large cauldron in his hand was formed by the primordial law. The primordial cauldron quickly expanded to the size of a mountain and suppressed Yin Haoge. The power of the primordial cauldron was too shocking. It directly crushed the void and caused space-time to become chaotic. Boom. Wherever the primordial cauldron passed, the space constantly exploded. Yin Haoge's expression changed drastically. At this moment, he felt a shocking force crushing towards him. He wanted to escape, but he could not. He could only face it head-on. He used all his strength and blasted out a blow, bombarding the primordial cauldron. However, the result was that his body was sent flying. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and his arm exploded. It was a tragic sight. Many people gasped in shock. One move, just one move, and Yin Haoge was defeated. The other party did not use too high of a cultivation. Instead, he suppressed his cultivation to that of a 2-star Void Emperor, and fought with Yin Haoge at the same level. However, he defeated Yin Haoge with one move. How was this possible? Many people found it hard to believe, but this was the truth. Too weak. Chapter 2136. The young man in a gray robe from the heaven boundary had challenged Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian squinted his eyes. He was not confident that he could win against the young man in a gray robe. However, since the other party had challenged him, he could not avoid the challenge. Yuan Xian stepped out and his aura exploded. 2 types of laws spread out. The young man in a gray robe was surprised and he said, You have comprehended 2 types of laws and merged them together. Not bad. I wonder how strong you are now. I will show you. Chaotic divine body. Yuan Xian did not dare to be careless against the young man in a gray robe. He immediately used his strongest attack and used his chaotic divine body. Yuan Xian's body was covered in the color of primal chaos, as if it was made from primal chaos stones. His aura had reached its peak. Interesting. Come on, let me see your strength. Don't worry, I will still suppress my cultivation to that of a 2-star empty emperor. The young man in a gray robe revealed a faint smile and a tinge of interest. However, he did not panic at all. His attitude showed that he was looking down on Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian's eyes were filled with anger. He let out a roar and stepped into the air, charging towards the young man in a gray robe. Boom! Yuan Xian threw out a punch. His fist was like a chaotic stone, and it flew towards the young man in a gray robe. The young man in a gray robe stretched out his hand, and a primordial cauldron appeared in his palm. It grew rapidly and became the size of a mountain. The young man in a gray robe waved his hand, and the primordial cauldron flew towards Yuan Xian to suppress him. Dong! Yuan Xian's punch landed on the primordial cauldron. The cauldron shook violently and sound waves swept out in all directions. Many top powers emitted light from their bodies and blocked the sound waves. Yuan Xian also suffered a terrifying impact. His body trembled and he was forced to retreat. He stepped on the air and exploded. Not bad. You can block one of my attacks. You have some strength. Let's see how many of my attacks you can block. The young man in a gray robe said. He seemed surprised. He then pressed his hand down and the primordial cauldron flew towards Yuan Xian again. Break. Yuan Xian roared. Both of his fists continued to bombard. One punch after another. It was like a violent storm. However, what was unbelievable was that after every attack, Yuan Xian was forced to retreat. He was no match for the young man, and he was suppressed. After more than 10 attacks, he had retreated a few hundred meters and blood flowed out of his mouth. Suppress? The gray-robed young man whispered. His eyes flashed with a sharp light, and he pressed down with his hand again. The cauldron trembled and grew even larger as it pressed down on Yuan Xian. Boom! This time, Yuan Xian was in an even more miserable state. His body directly fell down and heavily smashed into the battle stage at the top of Destiny Mountain, causing the battle stage to tremble violently. How could this be? In the primordial realm, many young geniuses roared in disbelief. Yuan Xian, the son of chaos, a peerless genius. This time, he was ranked third among all the geniuses in the primordial realm. Even such an expert had been defeated. Furthermore, he had been defeated so easily. Most importantly, the other party had already suppressed his cultivation to the level of a 2-star illusionary monarch. Yet he was still able to suppress Yuan Xian with ease. What was going on? The son of chaos was supposed to be invincible among cultivators of the same level as him. So how could he have been suppressed so miserably? Second-level laws. The other party's laws have already reached the second level. A powerful true emperor said. The second realm of laws? Some people didn't understand. Immediately, a senior figure explained. When one cultivated to quasi-emperor, one's laws would be consummation, forming a river. However, this so-called consummation was only the consummation of a certain stage. To be precise, it was only the consummation of the first realm of laws. The cultivation of laws was divided into 3 realms. After breaking through to the martial emperor realm, some experts could break through their laws again and cultivate them to the second, or even the third realm. Of course, the difficulty of that was extremely shocking. However, once a breakthrough was made, the power would also be shocking. Once a person broke through to the second realm, the power of their laws would increase exponentially. Even the path of the monarch would be able to contend with the strongest laws after reaching the second realm. The gray-robed young man's primordial laws had already reached the second realm. In a battle of the same level, he could easily defeat the son of chaos. However, according to the senior figures, only high-level illusionary monarchs could cultivate their laws to the second realm. Some people would never be able to break through in their lifetime. However, the other party had broken through to the second realm of the primordial laws at such a young age. It was shocking. The geniuses of the primordial realm are really flowers in a greenhouse. They can't even withstand a single blow. How boring. The gray-robed young man looked down at Yuan Xian and said indifferently, his voice full of disdain. Damn it. The geniuses of the primordial realm were all furious. It was really uncomfortable to be looked down upon like this. However, the other party's combat strength was too shocking. Even Tianming and Lu Ming would probably be defeated if they went up against him. Therefore, they could do nothing about being looked down upon by the other party, and could only swallow their anger. After the gray-robed young man finished speaking, he seemed to have lost interest and returned to the war chariot. At that moment, a woman walked out. This woman was wearing a suit of iron armor. She was heroic and had a murderous aura. She glanced at Lu Ming and the others and said, I heard that the child of destiny has been born in the primordial realm. I'm very curious about how wonderful the path of destiny is. Do you dare to fight with me? Tianming's eyes flashed. The other party had directly challenged the child of destiny. He could only accept the challenge. Stepping out, his white robe fluttering, Tianming looked at the heroic woman and said, I am the child of destiny. What's your cultivation level? The heroic woman asked. 2-star illusionary monarch. Tianming said. 2-star illusionary monarch. Great, I'm also a 2-star illusionary monarch, the heroic woman said, and the aura of the laws emanated from her body. Path of the monarch laws. You have a monarch body? Tianming was stunned, and a trace of displeasure flashed in his eyes. The other party had a monarch body. She dared to challenge him with a monarch body. This was looking down on him. So what if I have a monarch body? Even a monarch body can defeat you. The heroic woman's aura became stronger. A long spear appeared in her hand. The long spear stirred up the wind and clouds as it pierced toward Tianming. As the long spear pierced out, the aura of the heroic woman's body skyrocketed. She was like an invincible war goddess. Great art of destiny. Tianming did not dare to underestimate his opponent. He displayed the great art of destiny and turned into a rainbow light, charging toward the heroic woman. Boom! The light of destiny collided with the opponent's long spear, and an astonishing fluctuation erupted. The heroic-looking woman was successfully blocked. Second-level laws. However, you're no match for me even though you're at the second level of the path of the monarch laws. Tianming shouted and launched a counterattack. He could see that the other party's laws had already reached the second level. However, he cultivated the path of destiny, while the other party only cultivated the path of the monarch laws. He was fearless and could crush the other party. Whoosh! Whoosh! Tianming's finger continued to point out, and rays of light of destiny bombarded the other party. If one doesn't work, then I'll use 2-3, the heroic woman said coldly. Her aura became stronger as 3 types of laws erupted. Moreover, she had completely mastered them. 3 path of the monarch laws and 2 of them have already reached the second level. How is this possible at such a young age? A true emperor with snow-white hair roared in disbelief. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.